First Contact Surprise. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber, a vast amphitheater of shimmering holographic displays and ornate alien architecture, buzzed with an energy not seen in centuries. Representatives from 1,000 worlds shifted nervously in their seats, appendages twitching and telepathic fields crackling with anticipation. At the center of it all, High Counselor Zaxleary, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate crystalline vessel, pulsed with a deep azure glow. Order. Zaxleary's voice resonated through the chamber, silencing the murmurs. We face an unprecedented situation. Our long-range sensors have detected a sudden surge of technological activity from Sol 3, the planet known as Earth. Gasps and exclamations rippled through the assembly. Earth was a backwater, a primitive world barely worth monitoring. Its inhabitants, humans, were considered an unremarkable species, still grappling with the basics of spaceflight within their own solar system. Counselor Vreen, an insectoid being from the technologically advanced Arxer Collective, chittered skeptically. Impossible. Our last survey was mere decades ago. They were still burning hydrocarbons and fighting amongst themselves. Zaxleary's form flickered, projecting a series of images above the council floor. They showed a transformed Earth, sprawling orbital habitats, ships of sleek design unlike anything the council races had conceived, and most shockingly, what appeared to be a massive construction project at the edge of the solar system. This data is verified, Zaxleary continued. In the span of less than a century, humans have not only mastered interplanetary travel, but appear to have developed technologies that rival or even surpass our own in some areas. The chamber erupted into chaos. Some counselors demanded immediate containment, fearing the rapid expansion of an unpredictable species. Others called for peaceful contact, eager to learn the secrets behind humanity's meteoric rise. Amidst the commotion, a new hologram materialized in the center of the chamber. It depicted a human woman, her dark skin contrasting with a crisp white uniform adorned with unfamiliar insignia. Greetings, esteemed members of the Galactic Council. The woman spoke, her voice calm and assured. I am Admiral Helena Chen of the United Earth Federation. We apologize for the abruptness of this contact, but we believed it was time to introduce ourselves properly. Stunned silence fell over the chamber. First contact protocols had been completely bypassed. Somehow, humans had not only detected the Council's presence, but had also managed to hack into their most secure communications network. Admiral Chen continued, unfazed by the shock her appearance had caused. We've been aware of the greater galactic community for some time now. We chose to remain hidden, to develop on our own terms, but recent events have forced our hand. Zaxleary's crystalline form pulsed rapidly, a sign of agitation. Admiral Chen, your actions are in violation of numerous galactic laws. Explain yourself immediately. Chen's hologram nodded respectfully. Of course, High Counselor. Earth faced a crisis 50 years ago, a cosmic event that would have rendered our planet uninhabitable. In our desperation, we achieved what many thought impossible. We unlocked the secrets of the Fold Drive. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the council. The Fold Drive was theoretical technology, thought to be centuries beyond even the most advanced races. The Fold Drive allowed us to manipulate space-time itself, Chen explained. We evacuated our population to habitable worlds beyond our solar system, terraformed inhospitable planets in mere years, and rebuilt our civilization stronger than ever. Counselor Vreen's mandibles clicked rapidly. Preposterous. Such technology would rewrite the very foundations of physics as we know it. Chen's hologram smiled. Perhaps a demonstration is in order. She gestured, and suddenly, a massive ship materialized just outside the Council Station's viewports. It was easily twice the size of the largest Council dreadnought, its hull gleaming with an iridescent sheen that seemed to bend light around it. Panic ensued as defense systems blared warnings. But before anyone could react, the ship vanished, only to reappear on the opposite side of the station an instant later. The UES Humanity's Hope, Chen introduced. Our flagship, capable of crossing the galaxy in minutes. We come not as conquerors, but as allies. There's a threat looming on the horizon, one that will require all of our combined strength to face. High Counselor Zaxleri's form pulsed rapidly, processing this paradigm-shifting information. Admiral Chen, your arrival has thrown our understanding of the galaxy into chaos. We will need time to verify your claims and discuss the implications of your emergence. Chen nodded solemnly. We understand, High Counselor. But time is a luxury we may not have. We request a formal audience with the full council within one standard rotation. The fate of all our civilizations may depend on it. With that, Chen's hologram vanished, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. The massive human ship outside the viewport shimmered and disappeared, as if it had never been there at all. Zaxleri's voice cut through the shocked quiet. Counselors, we stand at a crossroads of history. Humanity has changed the game in ways we cannot yet fathom. We must prepare for their formal presentation, and for a future that has suddenly become far more uncertain, and perhaps far more wondrous than we ever imagined. As the council descended into furious debate, one thing was clear: the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had arrived on the cosmic stage, and they had done so with a bang that would echo across the stars for eons to come. The Prothean threat emerges. The Galactic Council Chamber was a hive of activity as representatives from across known space gathered for humanity's formal presentation. The events of the previous day had sent shockwaves through galactic civilization, and now every race, from the most powerful to the most obscure, clamored for a glimpse of these upstart humans and their miraculous technology. Admiral Helena Chen materialized in the center of the chamber, this time accompanied by a diverse team of human experts. Her calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the tension permeating the room. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Chen began, her voice resonating with quiet authority. We thank you for granting us this audience. As promised, we're here to discuss not only our emergence onto the galactic stage, but a threat that imperils us all. High Counselor Zaxleri's crystalline form pulsed with a cautious blue light. Proceed, Admiral. But be warned, your claims will be scrutinized most carefully. Chen nodded, gesturing to a severe-looking woman beside her. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, our chief xenorchaeologist, will explain. Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, her hologram projecting images of ancient ruins and mysterious artifacts. During our expansion and exploration using the full drive, we discovered something alarming. Evidence of an ancient, highly advanced civilization we've dubbed the Protheans. Murmurs rippled through the council. Many races had legends of precursor civilizations, but concrete evidence was scarce. The Protheans, Tanaka continued, appeared to have dominated the galaxy millions of years ago. But more importantly, we found signs that they're not as extinct as we'd hoped. The holographic display shifted, showing a massive structure hidden in the depths of intergalactic space. It resembled a colossal mechanical flower, its petals slowly unfurling. This structure, which we call the Nexus, appears to be some kind of stasis or hibernation facility, Tanaka explained. Our calculations suggest it's beginning to activate. If our translations of Prothean data caches are correct, this heralds the return of a civilization that saw all other sentient life as resources to be harvested. The chamber erupted into pandemonium. Counselors shouted questions and accusations, some refusing to believe the humans' claims, others calling for immediate military mobilization. Counselor Vreen of the Orcs Collective chittered loudly, silencing the chaos. Convenient timing, humans. You appear with unbelievable technology and an unbelievable threat in the same breath. How do we know this isn't some elaborate ruse? Admiral Chen's expression hardened. Counselor, we understand your skepticism. That's why we're prepared to share our full drive technology with the Council races, along with all the data we've gathered on the Prothean threat. We need a united front if we're to have any hope of survival. This pronouncement sent fresh shockwaves through the assembly. The idea of humans freely sharing such groundbreaking technology was almost as unbelievable as the threat they described. High Counselor Zaxleri's form pulsed rapidly, a sign of intense deliberation. Admiral Chen, if what you say is true, the stakes could not be higher. But trust is not easily given, especially to a species that has hidden its true nature for so long. Chen nodded solemnly. We understand, High Counselor. That's why we propose a joint mission to the Nexus. A team of your best scientists and our experts, using our full drive technology. See the threat with your own eyes. Verify our claims. As the Council debated this proposal, alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. A frantic voice cut through the commotion. High Counselor, we're detecting multiple unknown vessels entering the system. They match no known configuration. The chamber's holographic display shifted, showing a swarm of biomechanical ships, each one a twisted fusion of organic and technological components. They moved with unnatural precision, their very presence seeming to distort the fabric of space around them. Admiral Chen's face paled. It's them. The Protheans. They're awakening faster than we anticipated. The alien ships opened fire, lances of energy, unlike anything the Council races had ever encountered, slicing through the station's shields, as if they weren't there. Chen barked orders to her team, who vanished from the chamber. Moments later, the UES Humanity's Hope shimmered into existence between the station and the Prothean fleet. It unleashed a barrage of weapons that bent space itself, creating localized singularities that swallowed Prothean ships whole. Counselors, Chen shouted over the chaos. We need to evacuate the station now. Our ship can get you to safety. High Counselor Zaxleri's form flashed with rapid pulses of decision. Admiral Chen, we have little choice but to trust you. Counselors, order all ships to fall back. We cannot match this technology. As the station shuddered under the Prothean assault, Council members were hurriedly escorted to teleportation points linked to the human flagship. The massive vessel's full drive engaged, whisking them away to safety in the blink of an eye. From the safety of a hidden human base several galaxies away, the shell-shocked Council watched real-time holographic feeds of the battle they'd just fled. The Prothean forces were laying waste to the system, methodically destroying every structure and ship in sight. Admiral Chen stood before them, her earlier composure replaced by grim determination. Now you've seen the threat we face. The Protheans are awakening, and they view all of us, humans, Council races, everyone, as nothing more than raw materials for their empire. She paused, looking each Council member in the eye. We kept ourselves hidden because we feared how the galaxy would react to our advancement. But now we have no choice. We must stand together, or we will fall divided. Humanity offers all of our technology, all of our resources, to forge an alliance capable of facing this threat. High Counselor Zaxleri floated forward, its crystalline form pulsing with a mixture of fear and resolve. It seems, Admiral, that the galaxy's future now rests on the shoulders of its youngest recognized species. We find ourselves in unprecedented times, facing an unimaginable foe. The Counselor's form shifted to a deep, determined red. You have our attention, humans. Now, show us how we survive this. As the gathered leaders of the galaxy turned to Admiral Chen, the weight of entire civilizations hanging on her next words, one thing was clear. The age of comfortable stagnation was over. Humanity had burst onto the galactic scene, bringing with them both wonders and terrors beyond imagination. The coming days would determine not just the fate of Earth or the Council races, but of all life in the galaxy. The battle for survival had begun. Battle of Arcturus. The weeks following the Prothean attack on the Galactic Council station were a whirlwind of activity. Humanity's hidden outposts became impromptu centers of diplomacy and technological exchange as the various races of the galaxy struggled to catch up with Earth's advancements. Admiral Helena Chen stood before a holographic display of the Milky Way, surrounded by a mix of human officers and alien representatives. The map was dotted with red markers, each representing a confirmed Prothean incursion. The Protheans are expanding rapidly, Chen explained, her voice tight with concern. They're targeting major population centers and resource-rich worlds. Our fold drive gives us an advantage in mobility, but we're spread thin trying to evacuate civilians and counter their attacks. Zekshal, a towering reptilian being from the warrior Krotak race, growled in frustration. We should take the fight to them. Strike at the heart of their forces. Chen shook her head. We've tried. The Nexus is too well defended, and the Protheans seem to be able to predict our conventional tactics. We need tow. An urgent alert cut her off. A young human officer rushed into the room, face pale. Admiral, we're receiving distress calls from the Arcturus system. It's under heavy Prothean attack. The room fell silent. Arcturus was one of the most populated and strategically important systems in Council space. Its fall would be catastrophic. Chen's eyes hardened with resolve. This is it. The moment we've been preparing for. Arcturus is where we make our stand. She turned to the assembled allies. I know many of you still doubt us, still fear our technology. But right now, Arcturus needs every ship we can muster. Will you stand with us? There was a moment of tense silence before Zekshal stepped forward. The Krotak fleet is yours to command, Admiral. We will show these Prothean ghosts the meaning of true warrior spirit. One by one, the other representatives pledged their support. A ragtag fleet of council ships, newly retrofitted with human tech, assembled alongside the sleek vessels of Earth's armada. As they prepared to depart, Dr. Yuki Tanaka approached Chen with a worried expression. Admiral, the neural interface prototypes aren't ready. Using them in combat could be dangerous. Chen's jaw tightened. We don't have a choice, Yuki. The Protheans' hive mind gives them an insurmountable advantage in coordination. We need to level the playing field. Within the hour, the combined fleet arrived at Arcturus through a massive fold jump. The scene that greeted them was one of chaos and devastation. Prothean ships swarmed around the system's planets, their biomechanical forms disgorging hordes of ground troops onto populated worlds. Chen's voice rang out across all frequencies. All ships, engage the enemy. Protect the evacuation transports at all costs. The battle that ensued was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Human ships blinked in and out of existence, using their fold drives to execute maneuvers that defied conventional physics. They struck at Prothean weak points with uncanny precision, their neural interfaces allowing for split-second coordination. Krotak warships charged headlong into the fray, their advanced shields, a gift from human engineers, allowing them to weather punishing attacks as they closed in for devastating short-range strikes. Arcser vessels danced through the chaos, their insectoid pilots leveraging their natural multitasking abilities to control swarms of fighter drones that harried larger Prothean ships. But the Protheans were far from outmatched. Their ships demonstrated an ability to adapt in real time, shifting configurations to counter specific attacks. Weapons that proved effective in one exchange would find themselves useless in the next as the Prothean fleet evolved its defenses. Admiral Chen, linked to her fleet through the experimental neural interface, felt the strain of coordinating such a complex battle. Sweat beaded on her brow as she processed an overwhelming stream of tactical data, making split-second decisions that meant life or death for thousands. They're pushing towards the inner planets, shouted Commander Ravi Sani, Chen's second-in-command. Our lines are breaking. Chen gritted her teeth, feeling the fatigue and confusion of her linked pilots as if it were her own. All ships with fold capability, execute maneuver Omega. The rest, fall back and regroup around Arcturus Prime. What followed was a daring gambit. Half the human fleet and their upgraded allies vanished, only to reappear within the Prothean formation. They unleashed a point-blank barrage, their weapons tearing through the enemy's suddenly vulnerable rear lines. For a moment, it seemed the tide had turned. But then, A massive Prothean dreadnought emerged from behind Arcturus' largest moon. It dwarfed even the largest council ships, its surface writhing with organic tendrils that crackled with energy. By the cosmic core breathed Zekshal, his normally bravado-filled voice tinged with awe and fear. What manner of monstrosity is that? The dreadnought opened fire, and the battlefield lit up with apocalyptic fury. Entire squadrons were vaporized in seconds. The neural interface screamed with the sudden loss of so many linked minds, causing Chen to cry out in agony. "Admiral." Sani rushed to support Chen as she stumbled. "We need to retreat. We can't stand against that thing." But Chen, through the haze of pain and neural feedback, saw something the others didn't. A pattern in the Prothean behemoth's attacks, a rhythm to its movements. In that moment of clarity, she understood. "No," she said, her voice hoarse but filled with determination. "We can beat it, but I'll need everyone's trust. Absolutely everyone's." She opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. What I'm about to ask will sound insane, but it's our only shot. On my mark, I need every fold-capable ship to jump to these coordinates, then cut all power. Every other ship, concentrate all firepower on this vector. Timing is everything. Trust me." There was a moment of hesitation across the fleet. Chen felt the doubt and fear rippling through the neural link. But then, amazingly, she felt resolution flood in. If humanity could create the fold drive, if they could stand against the Prothean onslaught, then perhaps this impossible plan had a chance. Mark. What followed was a symphony of chaos and precision. Ships blinked out of existence only to reappear in a tight formation directly in the dreadnought's path. As they cut power, they looked like easy targets. The Prothean behemoth, its movements predictable in its confidence, turned to obliterate them. That's when the rest of the fleet struck. Every operational weapon fired at a single point, guided by Chen's calculations. The Prothean dreadnought's defenses, focused on the tempting targets before it, faltered for just a split second on its flank. A split second was all they needed. The combined firepower punctured the dreadnought's hull, reaching its core. The resulting explosion was bright enough to be seen from the surface of Arcturus Prime, a new star born from the death of a nightmare. As the light faded, the remaining Prothean ships fell into disarray. Without the controlling influence of their flagship, they reverted to simple, predictable attack patterns. The Allied fleet, bolstered by their impossible victory, pressed their advantage. Hours later, as the last Prothean ship fell, a ragged cheer went up across the fleet. Arcturus had held. Humanity and their new allies had achieved the impossible. Admiral Chen, exhausted but triumphant, allowed herself a small smile. "Send word to the Council. Tell them that Arcturus stands, and that humanity stands with them." As the fleet began rescue and recovery operations, news of the victory spread rapidly across Council space. The Battle of Arcturus would be remembered as the turning point, the moment when the galaxy truly united against the Prothean threat. And at the heart of it all stood humanity, the upstart species that had brought both terror and hope to the stars. The Protheans had awakened to harvest the galaxy. Instead, they had inadvertently forged it into something stronger, more unified than ever before. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the Prothean emergence, the peoples of the galaxy dared to hope. In the face of extinction, humanity had not only survived but thrived, elevating their galactic neighbors in the process. The journey ahead would be long and fraught with danger, but they would face it together, as equals among the stars. Galactic Alliance Forge. The aftermath of the Battle of Arcturus rippled across the galaxy like a shockwave. News of humanity's pivotal role in repelling the Prothean assault spread rapidly, transforming perception of the upstart species from potential threat to invaluable ally. As the dust settled, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session to address the new reality they faced. The council chamber, hastily reconstructed on a mobile space station, hummed with an energy unlike any in recent memory. Representatives from every major spacefaring race packed the tiered seats, their usual political squabbles set aside in the face of existential threat. High Counselor Zaxlery's crystalline form pulsed with a solemn blue light as it addressed the assembly. Fellow sentients, we stand at a crossroads. The Prothean menace has shaken the very foundations of our civilization. But in our darkest hour, we have found hope in the most unexpected of places. A hologram of Admiral Helena Chen materialized in the center of the chamber. Despite the weariness evident in her stance, her eyes burned with determination. The Battle of Arcturus was won not through human might alone. Chen began, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast room. It was a victory forged through cooperation, through the melding of diverse technologies and tactics. If we are to survive the trials ahead, we must build upon this foundation. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Even the most skeptical races had been forced to acknowledge the effectiveness of human innovation when combined with their own strengths. Counselor Vreen of the Orcs Collective chittered thoughtfully. You propose a formal alliance then, Admiral, beyond the ad hoc cooperation we've seen thus far. Chen nodded. More than that, Counselor. We propose a complete integration of our forces, our research, our very societies. The Protheans possess a hive mind that allows for perfect coordination. We must create our own version, not through domination, but through willing collaboration. The chamber erupted into a mix of excited chatter and concerned debate. The idea was radical, unprecedented in galactic history. Zekshal, the Krotak representative, rose to his full, imposing height. The Krotak people have long prided ourselves on our independence, but we are not too proud to recognize wisdom when we hear it. You have proven your worth in battle, humans. We will stand with you. One by one, other races pledged their support. The Orcs offered their vast computational networks. The ethereal Quilleri promised to share their psychic technologies. Even the reclusive Zinthar, masters of bioengineering, emerged from their isolation to join the cause. As the pledges continued, Dr. Yuki Tanaka stepped forward, her hologram appearing beside Chen's. With your permission, Admiral, I'd like to share our latest breakthrough. Chen nodded, and Tanaka began to explain. By combining our neural interface technology with Quilleri psychic amplifiers and Orcs quantum computers, we believe we can create a galactic communication and coordination network unlike anything we've ever seen. We're calling it the harmonic mesh. The doctor's words painted a picture of a galaxy united not just in purpose, but in mind and spirit. Ships and ground forces moving with the coordination of the Protheans, but driven by the diverse creativity of 1 million free minds. Research teams across dozens of worlds working in perfect synchronization to unlock the secrets of Prothean technology. As Tanaka spoke, the chamber's holographic displays came to life, showing simulations of this new interconnected galaxy. Ships of every design moving in complex formations, worlds transformed by a fusion of technologies, new forms of art, and culture blooming from the unprecedented exchange of ideas. High Counselor Zaxlery's form pulsed rapidly, a sign of intense emotion. What you propose, Admiral Chen, Dr. Tanaka, is nothing short of a complete reimagining of galactic society. The challenges will be immense, as will the rewards, Chen countered. United, we have a real chance not just to survive the Prothean onslaught, but to forge a civilization greater than anything we've ever known. The Council deliberated for hours, debating the intricacies of this new alliance. Questions of governance, resource allocation, and cultural preservation were raised and heatedly discussed. But as the session wore on, a sense of inevitability settled over the chamber. The old ways were no longer sufficient. Adaptation was not just advisable, it was essential for survival. Finally, High Counselor Zaxlery called for a vote. The results were clear. The Galactic Alliance would be formed, with Earth and humanity as full and equal partners. As the session concluded, Admiral Chen found herself surrounded by a diverse group of alien leaders, all eager to begin the work of integration. The Crotac General Zekshel clapped her on the back with enough force to stagger a lesser being. "You've given us a mighty task, human," he growled, but there was respect in his reptilian eyes. "Let's see if your actions can match your ambitious words." Chen smiled tiredly. "Oh, we're just getting started, General. The real work begins now." Over the following months, the galaxy transformed at a dizzying pace. The harmonic mesh, once a theoretical concept, became a reality. Billions of minds across thousands of worlds joined the network, their thoughts and innovations flowing freely across the stars. On the fringes of settled space, joint fleet exercises showcased the terrifying efficiency of this new unified force. Ships of every design moved as one, their crews linked in perfect harmony. When Prothean scouts probed Alliance borders, they were met with a response so swift and overwhelming that they were destroyed before they could report back to their hive. Research outposts sprang up on distant worlds, their mixed species teams making breakthrough after breakthrough. Prothean artifacts, once inscrutable, began to yield their secrets. Humanity's full drive technology was refined and improved, allowing for ever greater feats of faster-than-light travel and combat maneuverability. But it wasn't all military advancements and technological leaps. The harmonic mesh gave birth to new forms of art, music, and literature that transcended species boundaries. Galactic culture flourished in ways never before imagined, as the best aspects of each civilization blended and amplified one another. Of course, challenges remained. Some isolationist factions resisted integration, fearing the loss of their unique identities. The mesh itself presented unforeseen psychological hurdles, as individuals struggled to balance their sense of self with the vast collective consciousness they now shared. Admiral Chen, now serving on the newly formed Alliance High Command, found herself grappling with these issues daily. But as she stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the massive construct that served as the Alliance's headquarters, she couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Below her, ships of every imaginable configuration moved in perfect synchronization, their crews linked through the mesh. On the station itself, beings from 100 worlds worked side by side, their differences celebrated rather than feared. "Quite a view, isn't it?" came a familiar voice. Chen turned to see Dr. Tanaka joining her at the window. "Sometimes I can hardly believe how far we've come," Chen admitted. "When we first emerged from hiding, I never imagined this." Tanaka nodded, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "We've created something beautiful, Helena, something worth fighting for." As if in response to her words, an alert chimed softly. Both women tensed, knowing what it likely meant. Chen tapped her neural link, connecting to the mesh, and the information flowed into her mind instantly. Her expression hardened with resolve. "It's time. The Protheans have launched a major offensive. They're striking at multiple systems simultaneously." Tanaka's hand found Chen's shoulder, squeezing gently. "We're ready for them." Chen nodded, her mind already reaching out through the mesh, feeling the readiness of countless allies across the stars. "Yes, we are. Let's show them what a truly united galaxy can do." As alarms sounded throughout Harmony Station, Chen felt a swell of emotion that wasn't entirely her own. Determination, courage, and hope from billions of minds linked together. The Galactic Alliance was about to face its greatest test, but they would face it as one. The Protheans had awoken expecting to harvest a fractured, primitive galaxy. Instead, they had inadvertently birthed a new civilization, one that combined the best of all its member races. And at the heart of it all stood humanity, the catalyst that had transformed diversity from a weakness into their greatest strength. As the Alliance fleets mobilized, as research teams redoubled their efforts, as billions of minds joined in common purpose, one thing became clear: the age of division was over. A new era of galactic history was about to unfold, and its first chapter would be written in the fires of the coming battle. The galaxy was united, it was prepared, and it was ready to fight for its future, turning the tide. The Galactic Alliance's first true test came swiftly and brutally. The Protheans, perhaps sensing the shifting balance of power, launched a massive offensive across multiple fronts. Entire star systems erupted into chaos as the biomechanical horrors poured forth from fold space ruptures, their hive mind coordinating attacks with terrifying precision. But this time, the galaxy was ready. Admiral Helena Chen stood at the heart of Harmony Station's command center, her mind seamlessly integrated with the harmonic mesh. Around her, beings from 100 worlds worked in perfect synchronization, their thoughts and actions amplified and coordinated by the vast psychic network. Prothean forces have breached the outer defenses in the Orion sector, reported Zekshal, the Krotak general's gravelly voice resonating through both the air and the mesh. Orcs swarm ships are engaging, but they're outnumbered. Chen's mind raced through tactical simulations, drawing on the collective knowledge and intuition of countless military minds linked through the mesh. Redirect the Kulari psychic amplifiers to Sector 9. We'll use their telepathic illusions to mask our counterattack. As she spoke, fleets across the galaxy responded. Kulari thought weavers projected massive illusions, making the Alliance forces seem scattered and vulnerable. The Protheans took the bait, pressing their attack, only to find themselves suddenly enveloped by waves of Krotak warships emerging from cleverly disguised fold space pockets. The battle raged across dozens of star systems simultaneously. On the planet Novarus, Zinthar bioconstructs fought alongside human marines, their genetically engineered forms adapting in real time to Prothean tactics. In the skies above, ships of every design danced through impossible maneuvers, their crews guided by the combined reflexes and intuition of the entire Alliance. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's voice cut through the chaos of the command center. Admiral, we've made a breakthrough. The Prothean encryption. We've cracked it. Chen's eyes widened. This was the moment they'd been waiting for. Upload the decryption keys to the mesh. Every ship, every soldier. Give them access now. As the information flowed through the harmonic mesh, the tide of battle began to shift. Alliance forces could now intercept and understand Prothean communications, predicting their movements and countering their strategies before they could even be implemented. But the Protheans were far from defeated. As if sensing the change in momentum, they unveiled their ultimate weapon, a massive construct that dwarfed even their largest dreadnoughts. It emerged from the depths of fold space near the galactic core, its very presence warping the fabric of reality around it. By the cosmic core, breathed Counselor Vreen, his insectoid mandibles clicking in alarm. What is that monstrosity? Chen felt a chill run down her spine as data from the mesh flowed into her mind. It's their nexus. The hibernation facility we detected. They've weaponized it. The Prothean nexus began to pulse with eldritch energies, tearing open rifts in space-time. From these wounds in reality poured endless waves of Prothean forces, seemingly drawn from every era of their ancient civilization. They're not just awakening, Tanaka realized, her voice filled with both awe and horror. They're pulling their forces from across time itself. For a moment, despair threatened to overwhelm the Alliance. How could they stand against an enemy with the power to manipulate time and space so effortlessly? But then, something remarkable happened. Through the harmonic mesh, Chen felt a surge of something. Not just determination or courage, but a collective realization, an idea born from the combined creativity and wisdom of trillions of minds. That's it, she whispered, then louder. That's our answer. Everyone, listen closely. We've been thinking too linearly. We need to fight fire with fire, or in this case, time with time. As Chen explained her plan, excitement rippled through the mesh. It was audacious, borderline insane, but it just might work. The next hours were a blur of frantic activity. Every fold drive in the Alliance was pushed to its limits. Kulari thought weavers strained their psychic powers to the breaking point. Orcs quantum computers calculated possibilities faster than ever before. And at the heart of it all, humanity's adaptability and innovative spirit shone through. They were the bridge between technologies, the catalyst that allowed seemingly incompatible systems to work in harmony. As the Prothean Nexus prepared to unleash another wave of temporal reinforcements, the Alliance sprung its trap. Thousands of ships, linked through the mesh, activated their full drives simultaneously. But instead of jumping through space, they tore open a rift in time. The resulting temporal shockwave collided with the Nexus' own time manipulations. Space-time itself seemed to scream as past, present, and future collided. For a moment that stretched into eternity, everything froze. Chen felt her consciousness expand, perceiving multiple timelines, countless possibilities. She saw versions of the battle where the Alliance fell, where the Protheans triumphed. But she also saw futures of unimaginable beauty, where the United Galaxy flourished beyond anyone's wildest dreams. And then, with a soundless explosion that resonated through the very fabric of the universe, everything snapped back into place. The Prothean Nexus hung in space, inert and powerless. The time rifts had collapsed, sealing off the endless reinforcements. Across the galaxy, Prothean forces fell into disarray, their hive mind severed from its source. As reports flooded in through the mesh, Chen allowed herself a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. They had done it. Against all odds, they had turned the tide. The cleanup took weeks. Prothean remnants were hunted down and contained. The Nexus itself was carefully quarantined, an object of study for generations to come. But as the dust settled, as worlds began to rebuild, a new sense of purpose filled the galaxy. In the halls of Harmony Station, representatives from every Alliance race gathered to discuss the future. The Crotak, once proud isolationists, now spoke eagerly of cultural exchange programs. Orcs scientists collaborated with Zinthar bioengineers, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. And everywhere, humans found themselves welcomed as equals, their adaptability and innovative spirit recognized as key to the Alliance's victory. Admiral Chen, standing before the assembled delegates, felt a weight lift from her shoulders. "We faced extinction," she began, her words carried through the mesh to every corner of the galaxy. "We stared into the abyss of annihilation, but we did not falter. We did not break." She paused, looking out at the sea of diverse faces, scales, fur, tentacles, crystalline structures, and more, all united in common purpose. Instead, we came together. We took our differences, our unique strengths, and forged them into something greater than the sum of its parts. We proved that unity does not mean uniformity. That diversity, when embraced, is our greatest asset. Cheers erupted, both audible and psychic. Chen felt the approval and hope of trillions washing over her through the mesh. The Protheans sought to harvest us, to strip us of our individuality and reduce us to mere resources. But in doing so, they unleashed something they could never have predicted. They forced us to recognize what we could become if we set aside our fears and worked as one. She gestured to the window, where the stars shone brightly, full of promise. The threat is not over. There may be other Prothean facilities out there, other dangers we have yet to face, but we will meet them together as a united galaxy, and we will prevail. As the assembly dissolved into celebration, Shen found herself approached by High Counselor Zaxleary, the crystalline being pulsed with a warm golden light. "You've done it, Admiral," Zaxleary said, its mental voice filled with genuine admiration. "You've transformed the galaxy. Humanity has more than earned its place among the stars." Chen smiled, shaking her head slightly. "No, Counselor. We've all transformed the galaxy. Humanity may have been the catalyst, but this victory belongs to every race, every individual who chose to stand together in the face of annihilation." As if to emphasize her point, the harmonic mesh hummed with the combined emotions of countless beings: joy, relief, hope, and an overwhelming sense of unity. Humans, Crotak, Orcs, Quillari, Zinthar, and 100 other races, all connected, all part of something greater than themselves. The Protheans had awoken expecting to find a fragmented, primitive galaxy ripe for harvest. Instead, they had inadvertently forged a new civilization, one that combined the strengths of all its members. And at the heart of it all stood humanity, not as conquerors or saviors, but as the bridge that allowed disparate peoples to recognize their common ground. As Chen looked out at the star-filled expanse, she felt a sense of limitless possibility. The galaxy had faced its trial by fire and emerged stronger, more united than ever before. Whatever challenges the future might hold, they would face them together as one people with a million faces. The age of division was over. A new era of galactic history had begun, written in the shared dreams and aspirations of countless worlds. And it was beautiful.